about my love. Wasn't it enough? Just let me know. So I
Has the
can
NFL devalued the running back position? Again, this was kind of talked about in last week's show. And if you look on Twitter on East Coast Gridiron, let me scroll up so I can like fully get it. We've got on the quote. It was something that I had said, but literally just go on East Coast Gridiron on Twitter. Last week I said if you're a running back in the NFL and you can't rely on your hands in the passing game like an Austin Eckler or run through the entirety of a defense like Derrick Henry, you're expendable at this point.
Hmm.
I mean, literally, you. It is quite rare to see a running back go early in the first round because majority of them are usually like, oh, second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, let's look at our own Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, he won in the fifth. Granted, yes, COVID year, but I mean, let's look at Dalvin Cook. Vic, what round he go to? Because I know to this day it still haunts you. Go ahead.
Dalvin Cook went what, second round, I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, it's you don't really waste a first rounder on running back. So yeah, Vic, I want to start off with you. Has the NFL devalued the running back position?
Listen, the NFL has definitely devalued the running back position. The running backs were used to be the second highest paid player on your team because the running back carried your team pretty much more than what a quarterback did back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now things have changed. The NFL has realized, the passing game is what gets points in there. They want to expand on that, but also they have to play players. Quarterbacks being one, defensive linemen now are coming up with pay. Offensive linemen, they got to get paid more. What position could the NFL take and put a little devalue into it? Well, who makes the most? Who is the most around? The running back. There are multiple running backs again. That's what they say. Running backs are a dime a dozen. So let's pay
Mm-hmm.
them like they're a dime a dozen. All the
We'll
while,
just pay them a dime.
Just
yep,
pay them $1 million
all the
and be done.
while, we will work them until they can't prove anymore. Because for running backs, you don't get to renegotiate your contract until 5 seasons after the fact you were drafted. And even then, you could be franchise tagged for 2 years. So that 7 years of your career has gone out the window. Now, after playing 7 years, do you think as a running back you'll get top dollar? Hell to the no. That's what the NFL has done. They found a way, a loophole, to devalue the running back position in order to put that money into other positions. Now, is
Yeah.
it fair? By any means, it is not fair at all. Like we just talked about, we have Kareem Hunt, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel, big name running backs that have a lot in the tank, that are still extremely talented players that could possibly win you a Super Bowl. But because the NFL doesn't want to pay that player, let's be honest, the NFL is colluding. Let's be honest. The reason why collusion is so hard to prove is because you have to find something where everyone's saying they agree to something. It's going to be hard. You can't do that. But if you have an agreement in passing, because the NFL Owners Association, they're always getting together. But if you have an agreement at a dinner where no one's around, we all know what it is, and it's helping out our pockets, you think the NFL owners would honestly put that information out there for everyone to know? They're not stupid. The name of the game is to make as much money as possible, and that's what they're striving to do. And the running backs, hey, they're the odd man out. They're the ones who got to take the brunt. You see Saquon Barkley right now. He is literally the one running back right now that is standing up for all the running backs in the league. Everyone, every single running back has their eyes drawn on Saquon Barkley if he holds out. If he holds out, what is the amount he's going to get? Because no matter what, he's going to set the market for running backs. And this is something that running backs need to get together. Hell, I would say running backs need their own CBA. Running backs should have their own union because of how badly they're being treated. Quarterbacks can do the same thing too, but we all know quarterbacks are going to get theirs because they're the names of the team. They're the faces. When you talk about the workhorses of your team, yeah, that's going to be your running back. We all know they're underpaid. We might say, oh, well, this so and so might get injured a lot. But if you take a look, and I put this up on Twitter, at the five highest paid players per season, we're talking base salary, every single one of those players, except for Jared Goff, has had multiple injuries, has had seasons that they haven't even played. Ryan Tannehill was one of them. We all know he has an injury history. TJ Watt, another one, injury history. But yet, when it's not a running back, we don't talk about the injury history when it comes to that player. Only when it comes to running back do we mention that. Why is that? Because the NFL put that in our minds. The NFL puts that information out there. Every time you see ESPN, what do you hear? Oh, look at the running back injury. Look at Miles Sanders. What did we say? I said it myself. The best ability is
Just
availability.
available. Yep.
Availability, yeah.
Moved on for Miles Sanders after he had a full, healthy season, his best season. Now let's see if the grass is greener on the other side for the Eagles when you went back and got 2 injured running backs. That's the difference. When you treat running backs the way you do, you make moves like the Eagles did. You're going for cheap, thinking that you're going to get a lot out of it. Now that might, get you in the back. You might regret it later on. But right now, that's what the NFL owners want to do. Spend as least as possible in that position so that way the money can be spread around for everyone else. But when you ask me, have they devalued the running back position? Since 2009, Chicago Bears. That's when it all started.
Pretty much, yeah. Jeff, what about you? Do you agree?
Flag on the play for unsportsmanlike
Just
conduct.
crumpling up your notes. I was
Flag
like,
on
"Please don't."
no, that's a flag. That's literally a flag on the play. Literally. Here's the problem though. The players kind of are at the. Let's be honest. Some of the running back contracts back in the day were pretty ridiculous, pretty kind of bad contracts. Let's just say this right now. Ezekiel Elliott, the first one that came to my mind. 6 years. He signed a 6-year, $90 million contract in 2019. But before that, on his rookie year, Zeke Elliott was the top rusher in the NFL the first 3 years. He was an absolute monster. 1,631 yards his rookie year. Then he had 983. Then 1,434 rushing yards. Then he got that extension. What did he do after that extension? First year of that extension, 1,357 yards. Then he had 979, a 1,000-yard receiver, and then the previous year, 876. Didn't even finish that contract. And then, oh, you know what? There's the door. And literally, running backs that are the average money that a running back can be paid is $1.82 million. Take a guess how much a kicker can be paid in the year 2023. 2.82. Des Bryant pointed out that tweet. I'm just like, that is absolutely ridiculous. And then let's see. You talk about Vic. You mentioned how Saquon Barkley really hold out. I would tread carefully because there's another running back that did that before. His name was Le'Veon Bell. In the first 3 years,
and he recently came out and apologized.
And he admitted that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
His rookie year, he had 860 yards rushing, and then 400 yards receiving. He was a passer and a catcher. Like literally, Sora said, if you're a running back who can catch the ball or a trucker like Derrick Henry, you're expendable. Le'Veon Bell was a beast. Then the following year, 1,300 yards rushing, 859 receiving. Year 15, his third year, he got hurt. Then 1,200 receiving, 1,200 rushing yards, and 676 on the fourth year. Then franchise tag, 1,280. He had 12,600 on the tag and 616 receiving. Then he took the holdout. 4 years, $52 million. You know how many years he played? 1 on that contract with the New York Jets. Then he went to the Kansas City Chiefs for $1 million. Just to be a third team running back, just a fill-in piece.
Yeah.
Pretty much practice squad, yeah.
Pretty much practice squad. And then another running back that was guilty of that. Remember a running back by the name of Todd Gurley? Todd Gurley was an
And what did they do? They worked him till he quite literally broke.
Yeah, worked him till he quite literally broke. He was 4 years on his rookie year. Then he got a 4-year, $57 million contract. 45 of that was guaranteed in 2018. He had 1,251 rushing yards, 857 the following year, and then 678, and then literally fell out of the obscurity. I think what Vic says, I feel like the solution for this is running backs should be only be signed for like 2 to 3 years, then they should get an extension. I would propose you have 3 years is like the max of effort about a running back, and then you pay the man. You pay them because running backs. What's the main complaint I have with the Buffalo Bills? It is literally they do not have a running game. If they had a somewhat decent running game, the Buffalo Bills could probably be in the Super Bowl right now. And look at the Seattle Seahawks. Had they given the ball to Marshawn Lynch, they would have won that Super Bowl.
Oh, trust me, we'll complain about Buffalo later. Don't you worry.
Yeah, fair enough. But running back is essential. There's always going to be a future for running backs. But this whole getting paid less than kickers, that is absolutely ridiculous. They're your cowboys. You need to have a balanced attack in the NFL. You cannot be one dimensional. Just say pass, 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 pass. Because what the defense is going to do? Cover two and just drop 7 on coverage and just be done. And then you're going to be one dimensional interception. Oh, the rest is history. And the
Definitely.
defensive line can be tee off on the quarterback. You got to keep them honest with the running game.
If I could just bring one point, Manny actually brought up is something I was thinking about earlier when I was thinking about this question. Now we're talking about children and how now they see the running back position. I don't know if the NFL understands what they've done. They've kind of set a position where now children aren't going to want to play that position. When you look at a running back, what is the kid going to think? Why would I want to play running back? I'm going to get beat up. I'm going to get hurt, and I don't get nothing for it. Manny just has it right there. I hope I don't ever have to play running back. That's going to be in the mindset of kids when they think about this, when they see these stories. And Jeff, just to point out, when you were talking about Le'Veon Bell, everyone brings him up, saying how he held out, what happened to his career. People tend to forget what happened to the 2018 Steelers when their leading rusher was James Conner at 256 yards. It works both ways. You might get rid of that running back. It might not have to pay for him, but that doesn't mean you're going to replace that production. It doesn't happen all the time.
It doesn't. And like with it, if Saquon holds out, Giants.
We talked about it before on the Slack. Do you value Daniel Jones more than you value Saquon? You know what I'm saying? They went in. They have Daniel Jones for what is it? 4 more seasons. They can get rid of his contract in 2025. Do you sign Saquon? If you don't have Daniel Jones, what does that team look like? Can you get another quarterback to bring up that production? I think you can. If you get Saquon and you just bring in any other running back to replace that production, I don't think you can. There aren't many running backs in the league that can do that. So when everyone says that, yeah, running backs are a diamond that does it, it is true. There are multiple running backs in the league. But can they all produce? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
Can they produce? That is absolutely the question.
Yeah, and Jeff, I'm so glad you mentioned Todd Gurley because I was literally going to mention that again. This is a man that was worked to the bone, quite literally, till he broke. And normally, like in most positions, top 5, you're like, all right, we got to break the bank. Look at what the Titans did for Jeffrey Simmons. You could argue he was top 5. They're like, we got to make sure he doesn't leave. Same things with quarterbacks, usually same things with receivers.
You're right.
Running back wise, Austin Eckler, top 5 running back. I will not argue this, Manny. And he's even potentially gone because of contract. So even as a top 5 running back, you're not safe.
In his mind, he's gone.
And then also Kamara might be out of New Orleans. Yep. Kamara with his value.
Well, that's legal thing. I don't really think that has much to do with contract wise.
Contract, they can finally get rid of him. They already replaced him with Kendrick Miller. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, when you were talking about Todd Gurley before, you have to understand, like you said, Todd Gurley was worked to the bone. But that wasn't because of the Rams. That's because the University of Georgia ran Todd Gurley to the bone. Mm-hmm. When Todd Gurley was looking for that contract, that's because he knew what his situation was. He knew what his health was, and he knew.
He felt it. He was like, "All right, I got a couple years." You could feel it.
Yep. So basically,
and again, that's also
where he fit in, and that's where he fit in. That was his opportunity. He did the best that he could to try to get as much as he could.
That is also why they usually go late rounds. Because you look at running backs that don't have, that don't have a lot of tread on the tires. Look at Kenneth Gainwell at Memphis. He was behind Pollard. Mm-hmm. Sanders when he was behind Barkley when I forget who he was behind, but still,
it was actually Miles first, then Barkley took his.
Oh, was it Miles first and then okay? Oh yeah, you're right. It was Miles, then Barkley took his job and then went back to. You are correct about that. Yeah.
We are.
But I mean, I apologize. But yeah, no, it's literally that's why they go late. They're like, he's was not used a lot, which is why he's dropped so late. But he also can give us a couple good years because. Unlike top running backs, again, like you said, Gurley at Georgia wasn't used that much. Again, Nick Chubb, I feel like, is the outlier because looking at that injury, you'd think by now he would already be out. And his time could be coming soon. I doubt it. I hope not. But still, I mean, it's a possibility. Again.
And how much longer?
This generation's Frank Gore.
And how much longer is Derrick Henry before that body eventually breaks? Because
Yep.
Derrick Henry is not afraid
Henry,
of contact.
Jonathan Taylor. I mean, how many years has he been injured?
So for running backs, like I said, they're going to have to change the way. Again, the NFL just passed a rule where they said they have 5 years and you could add 2 more on.
Yeah.
There. They're going to have to find a way where they can change that. Where running backs, as they come in, their contract should be up after 3 seasons, maybe with 1 year, 1 year team options that gives them 4 seasons. After that, there should be no franchise tag. That's something that I think that the NFLPA needs to work on. Kill the franchise tag. That has ruined free agency.
Correct.
I'm in
So
full
hold up real quick, because we haven't gotten to Don yet. Is there anything you would like to add? I know you said you had the statistics, so
Yeah,
I wanted to kind of save you for last with that part.
That's cool. I don't have a lot. Basically, I mean, you brought up a great example of Nick Chubb. I mean, 2021 was when he got his contract renewed after his initial was up. That's the last running back that's had one renewed. That's been 2 years. So that's the last guy. Now, there are 2 starting positions with a lower average salary in the NFL than the running back. Now, I got my information from Sport Track. I trust that a little bit. I think Dez rounded up a little bit on his numbers. Running back at 1.797 million for an average. The fullback is 1.724 million.
And not every team uses it.
And the punter is 1.502 million.
Hashtag
So
bring
a
back the
fullback and a
position.
punter are the only ones making less on average than a running back.
Man. When are we gonna bring back the fullback, boys?
Not every team uses a fullback though.
I know, not anymore.
Hold on,
Not
so
anymore.
There's a long snapper out there making more bank than a running back, a starting running back.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm telling you.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, the thought process has changed so
There are
much over
practice
the
squad
years.
members out here really making more.
Yeah, so why extend a non-elite running back, a very good running back, but not elite? Why renew him when you can sign cheap, get a free agent, or just draft one? It's all about the money right now.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It is hard to find a running back that has stayed his entire career, had a very long career, like 10 plus years, on the same team. I mean, so far, Derrick Henry, I believe, in recent mind, is the only one that I can think of that is pretty much close to that.
It would have been McCaffrey, but he got traded last year.
He got traded to the 49ers.
Yep.
And just to point out, ECG Sniper, I saw what you say there, saying players should play out their contract, their rookie deals.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the fullback being a glorified
No,
tight
no.
end now.
If I'm a running back, I don't give a damn. If I break out first year and have a good second year, I'm sitting on my third year if I don't get my contract. I'm not touching the field if I don't get my contract because A, I'm still young. B, I have 2 great seasons of tape that people are going to want to see. I'm not going to put myself in a position like Le'Veon Bell did. I'm actually going to put myself in the right position, and I'm going to hold my team for it. If I'm a running back, that's what all running backs should do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in your second year, if you break out that third year, take a vacation if they don't pay you.
I'm in full agreement.
Quite literally, it's going to just end up having to be like a strike, like a running back strike.
Yep, that's what I said.
Because you saw the second, Barkley started talking, you saw Josh Jacobs back out of playing off of his tag. It quite literally, y'all remember the movie, The Replacements? That's about to happen in real life, boys. So strap up the pads, start warming up. Somebody call Keanu Reeves, and get ready.
And the only one that signed the franchise tag was Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard, that running back core is very thin. He's about to take a lot of punishment.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's looking at the Zach Martin stuff, going like, "Is this how I get my money?"
But you make a great point on talking about Tony Pollard because let's be honest, the only reason why he signed it because he knew he was injured. If he hits the free market, even though we know Dallas is desperate for a running back, but if he hits the market with that injury, he's not going to get anywhere near what Dallas is thinking about paying now. So that was the only option he had. And again, that's the position that the NFL puts running backs in. Where you're in your prime, you should be able to make as much money as every other position can. Every other position wants to hold out, but because you're a running back, you should play out your whole contract. You should be able to get franchised that. You should be able to get used for 7 years without any compensation.
How long is it really going to be until running back is basically just a glorified, short, speedy wide receiver?
I was about to say that's what they're going to turn it
That's
into.
what-
There's going to have
Lit-
specialist wide receivers like a Debo
Especially
Samuel
when you
that
saw
can
what
run the
Debo
ball.
did a couple years ago
Debo
before
Samuel.
wanting to be a pure wide receiver. Yeah.
And then you're going to run into that issue when you come up to contracts. I'm not getting paid as a wide receiver if I'm playing running back. Oh, now we're going to check out these contracts and break it down. The NFL put themselves in a tight position where they're going to have to ease up on the running back and start tightening the grips on other positions. I would say, hey, tighten the grip on quarterbacks. Put a cap on that bad boy.
I mean,
Put
quarterbacks
a
make enough
cap,
money.
or quite
And I don't mean a
honestly,
cap that you can change every year. I mean a cap, period. You're only making $500 million for 10 years. That's it. That's the highest contract you can get. We're not breaking the bank no more.
yeah, and you can only make this amount of much,
What a
like a year. So 10
Because you
years,
can
but
only-
like the only amount that the highest you can make in one out of those 10 years is so and so amount.
Yeah, you can only break up the pie so much. And right now, the quarterback position is eaten. They are eaten.
It is either do that or you've got to bump up the salary cap by so much, and even then they're going to be like, oh cool, more money to pay the quarterback.
Well,
The
with me,
quarterback,
I think
yeah.
in reference to the salary cap, let's get rid of that. Because again, if you're telling me we're talking about millionaires, billionaires that own these NFL teams, then let me see what you're about. Pony up that money. Get off of the
much.
cap.
Mr. Bezos, hello.
Look at
Now-
the MLB. They put up
Assistance.
the money. They don't complain about it. They're not out here bitching about what their cap is. Nobody doesn't want to set a cap. They play their players guaranteed. NBA, they have their guaranteed money. NFL's the only one that doesn't know how to make smart business decisions when it comes to what they're paying their players. Because again, you're going to come into this point where you're going to get more league strikes. You're going to get more issues with the NFLPA. It's only going to head down that road. They're only looking at the short term. They're not looking at the long term.
And to Manny's comments about wide receivers, yeah, there are those outliers that make those ridiculous contracts, but last year the average, because there's so many wide receivers, was only 2.2 million. I
And
mean,
then-
the highest paid position on average for average dollars was left tackle at 8.9 million.
Shout out to my fat guys.
There you go. That was
Hey.
the highest paid average position.
Pay that offensive line. You ain't doing nothing.
Mhm.
Offense ain't doing nothing without an offensive line.
There you
And
go.
quite literally, you've even got, because I know Manny mentioned Christian Kirk with 4 years, 72 million. If you got a lot of good wide receivers out on the market, the quicker you can pay your guy, even if it's a lot, it's literally like bidding and gambling. I have now set the bar. Every wide receiver is going to be like, well, if I'm better than Christian Kirk, I should be making way more than him.
Here, I'm just going to give you the top 5 earners in base salary. That means these are the players that are earning the most amount of money for this specific season. At number 1, Ryan Tannehill. Now, we know Ryan Tannehill to have an injury history, do we not?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a knack on him. Ryan Tannehill is nowhere near the top 10, top 5, top 15 in quarterbacks. Yet, he's getting paid the highest in the NFL for this specific season. But yet, you don't want to pay a running back. All right, let me give you someone else. Jimmy Garoppolo, currently hurt, signed a contract with the Los Angeles, with the Las Vegas Raiders, and had to restructure it
There's too
because
many
he's
losses.
still injured. Jimmy Garoppolo will be making 22 million this season.
Just
Jared
shitty.
Goff, the only person on this list that I can say A, deserves the money, and B, has been healthy this whole time
Yeah.
at 20.9 million. TJ Watt, did he play last season? Wasn't he injured?
He was hurt.
But he'll still make 20 million this season. But let's not pay these running backs. They often get injured. Lastly, Amari Cooper, wide receiver, great route runner, spectacular talent. But we know him to be often injured as well, do we not?
That and no show on games. Yep.
But he'll still make 20 million this season. So, do you care? Let's see. Does the NFL really care about the players in the positions, or is it just we need to move this money somewhere else? Because again, your running backs are doing most of the work. Your running backs are carrying these teams, yet you're not paying them what they deserve. That's an issue.
Absolutely is.
It
Well
is.
said. It need-
Again, it is only a matter of time until the running back basically becomes the fullback of just the running back is now basically a glorified small, quick wide receiver. like a Quez Watkins type of guy who is very, very speedy.
It's a
And
shame
that's literally just me just saying a random name.
I
because you
think the
need.
running back position is they want everyone to be Darren Sproles. You can do special teams, you can catch the ball, you can run the ball. Even you can mentor players, you can do it all.
Hmm
But we want you
You are going
at
to
a
be
low rate.
Austin Eckler now, pretty much.
Yep. We want you playing at top 10, top 5
Which
level, but
is
we want
so
you earning
crazy.
at the lowest
It's-
pay rate you can
It's
possibly
so
get.
crazy that Austin Eckler, a top 5 running back, who does all those things, even his contract isn't guaranteed.
That's
He's
ridiculous.
My
potentially
guy's
out
out
after
here
this year.
begging for the Chargers to
Literally.
pony up the
Just
money so we
pay.
can stay with them.
He asked for a trade. And he didn't get. He didn't get it. I mean,
And this is the crazy thing about fans too, because next season, if he walks away from the Chargers, what are fans going to say? Oh, he wasn't loyal to the team. He wasn't about that. No, he's literally begging your team. Listen, I want to stay with this organization. I want to retire with this organization. Let's make this happen. Chargers are just ignoring it.
bro, just pay him his money. What is, bro? Just give him his money.
And the
Jeez.
crazy thing is, and you all know I have my issues with Justin Herbert, but let's be honest. Is Justin Herbert the same player if Austin Eckler isn't on that team?
A lot more pressure is going to be on Justin Herbert, and he might break. You need a quality running back in order to do well. To just take pressure off the quarterback. It's not rocket science. It ain't that difficult. Come on, just pay the man.
I think the NFL's headed down a dark path. And listen, if they don't do anything, soon to change that, there's no stopping it then.
I agree.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. But gentlemen, any other final comments? I know we've been on this one for a while.
No,
All
I
right.
think we've all said what we had to say on the
I
running
was gonna
back.
say, I think
Yep.
we can all agree that there's definitely a flag on the play.
Yep.
But yeah, it is. It's also wild that this is kind of 2 weeks in a row we've basically been on this conversation. This literally could just be a whole series on its own.
It
Well,
could be.
this has been a problem for a while. Remember, a while ago I was talking about this and wanting before we went to Myrtle Beach. I wanted to bring this up because again, you can see the path that this is going down. It's not good. Like I said, we're even talking about, like I said before, kids not wanting to play the running back position anymore.
Yeah.
When you get to your future, what's going to happen when you look at high school and college players? They don't want to play running back. What tape are you going to look at to draft in the NFL? You're going to have a bunch of players that don't want to play a position. It's not going to end up working out because either you're going to have to change the way the game looks, or you're going to have to pony up the cash.
It is literally going to have to be the guys that are like the Austin Eckler types, catching in the backfield, or literally just go line up as a wide receiver and just be like, all right. I mean, that's literally just going to be it. That's how it's going to be. Empty back shotgun. I mean, that's literally what the position's probably.
Well, one
up
thing
to.
we didn't even mention is when a running back is in game, do they start making business decisions?
And just not play through the injuries because some running backs literally will play through the injuries. But if I'm just not going to get paid at all, I'm like,
What's the point? What's the point of putting your all into it if they're not giving their all into you?
I'm all for team spirit, but hey, you got to take care of yourself. You got to get that money.
You run that wheel route and that linebacker's a little too close. Nah, I don't want to be on the. I don't want to be on the pump list. It's okay.
And be like, no, thank you. I'm good.
I'll take it incomplete. I'll take it incomplete.
Wheel route. So we're back to Brian Johnson. No, I'm kidding.
Full circle. Full circle.
Suck it, 2020 Georgia. Anyway,
Like, man, why would you hold out though? You're trying to get your value.
Oh.
That's literally.
It all depends on your situation. Like I said, if you're a younger running back, you're probably 2-3 seasons in. By all means, hold out. Hold out. You haven't had much tread on those tires. Now, if you're talking about you're 5-6 years in, that's going to be a little difficult. You need to have a team that's in a bad position like the Cowboys. If not, then yeah, you wouldn't be able to because A, you're past your prime in the NFL's eyes, and you're not going to make that money because look how old you are. Only the great Adrian Peterson could probably get a contract. Even Peter Skins, and even if he was playing now, I guarantee you they wouldn't even be looking at giving him any kind of money that he
well, it's funny you say that because there is potentially a chance because he needs like only 300 yards to beat all-time record or something along those lines.
He's coming back seriously?
No, I'm saying the dude literally needs like just 300 yards to beat an all-time record. So I don't know if he's like.
But man,
it can be done.
True.
But man, if your game checks week to week will drop, but literally it's a risk you're gonna have to take. You got to know your worth. Literally, you trying to get some money, but while you can, get
Man,
by all
your
means
thought
get the money.
process is only thinking of the short term, not the long term. Short term, that's fine. You're going to deal through some rough things, but in the long term, if everything works out, you're setting yourself up for the future, and that's what every running back is looking at. This they need to set them up for the future because again, you can't play forever. That's something that won't happen.
It's
No.
just about to say.
All the time catches up with everyone, even Tom Brady himself.
Father Time's undefeated.
Facts.
Yeah, if that man retires for a third time, I'm gonna lose my.
I'm gonna don't.